Hi everyone, I had a great day today. I'm just getting ready for bed. Thank you for going on vacation with me here in beautiful Portugal. Yeah, it's been wonderful. Thank you also, shout out to those vegan guys getting me here safely and able to find food. I had a lot of health problems when I got here, stomach ache, etc. So thank you to them, and thank you to everybody for tuning in while I travel this amazing country, Portugal. One of the things that I've been meditating on tonight, just before bed, has to do with some of the changes that we're seeing taking place in China right now. And I can't help but feel, as I sit in meditation, watching the changes that are taking place in China, that so much of the suffering that we experience in life could be prevented if we could simply stand back and learn HCRV. Because HCRV allows us to step back and see all the balls that are in the air, so that we can, without our own ego and bias, make intelligent decisions. And so that's one of the main reasons that we teach HCRV, is so that all of us can put emotion aside and try and see the bigger picture. So as I abide in that energy and I stand back and observe the economic crisis that is currently taking place in China, I am being told that we're looking at an economic collapse of the infrastructure in about 3.5 months. That's pretty serious, that China is facing some serious economic challenges within 3.5 months. So now is not the time for China to be fighting with the West. There are major things that have happened that have led to this situation in China. The zero policy for COVID had an economic impact. The fact that America and other companies have had to go elsewhere to get their trade because of COVID. Also, the way that China has handled taking over areas like Hong Kong, etc. All of that has caused people to divest from China. We also have to think about the fact that they overextended themselves financially when they tried to expand into investing into places like Africa, etc. And the fact that they were using money, they were anticipating money that didn't come in. They didn't have a plan B should something like COVID happen. And handling their real estate market like a Ponzi scheme, quite frankly. So all of that, all of those contracts are on hold. We're talking about billions, even trillions of dollars of contracts going belly up. And so what that's doing to China is it's forcing them to have to pull back. They need to pull back and reassess. And it's also causing a potential very serious unrest potentially in China in the future. So we had talked about the fact that Xi Jinping was, that the head of China was suspected of being basically bought out by the West. America's involvement with China, the westernization of China. The fact that she had been educated in China. The fact that they started making China more capitalistic, more involved in the West, taking on more capitalistic ideas rather than thinking about the needs of the people of China, the unity of China, the community of China. This is why when you go into the energy, you see civil war in China. This is why you see people fighting up against Xi. We don't think of Xi as American, but in China, they see him as going to the West, learning Western ideas, going to Iowa, becoming Westernized, taking on these Western economic ideas that ultimately caused the people of China to feel that they were abandoned for the Great West, for the outside world. And so, as a result, we're now seeing civil unrest in China. This is how it feels to me as a remote viewer observing it. And so for that reason, I feel that they're facing a serious economic collapse in about 3.5 months, which means that their economic situation is going to be very serious by mid-December, January. And I don't see, I always see the same thing, that Putin is out. Major changes in October for the war in Ukraine. If fighting continues past October, it would be hard for me to understand what the point would be, because so much of the Ukrainian military has been wiped out. So to continue fighting will not bode well for Russia. If I were Russia, I would work very quickly towards negotiating a ceasefire, because when I go into it, I feel intense resistance coming back in from the East. And the reason that I feel this, I feel that Russia is trying to get their to secure their food lines, etc., and to open up the East for those soldiers also, some of whom have lost communication. I'm feeling large troops being isolated northeast of Kherson. I've talked about that in that valley area. I mean, we're talking 20,000 troops here. And they're getting no direction from leadership. Leadership doesn't know how to direct them. And you can't get food and supplies in from the east because they're trapped in the valley. So I think that they should negotiate a surrender, those that are still inside. And when you're thinking about that number of hostages, it makes sense that Russia would want to negotiate with Ukraine. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow. Be well. Bye-bye.